The National Assembly has come under criticism over the proposed purchase of vehicles at a time when Nigerians are grappling with multiple economic woes. The move has been deemed unpatriotic, untimely, and insensitive to the plight of the common Nigerian, with 63% of Nigerians multidimensionally poor, that is, 133 million people. Unemployment rate rose to 33.3%, translating to 23.3 million people. How much do these vehicles cost? The Toyota sports utility vehicles are worth between 130 to 160 million naira each. Market price for the Prado is between 85 to 90 million naira. Yet we have vehicles produced locally. Public office holders urge Nigerians to buy local, buy Niger to grow Niger, they say. That's about 500 vehicles between the Senate and the National Assembly. Imagine if these vehicles were purchased locally. How patriotic are our lawmakers as these decisions are made for the benefits and purpose of Nigerians? This means an increase in the already skyrocketing cost of governance. Lawmakers defend their action, says cars are work tools, not personal gifts to the lawmakers.
Are we supposed to do our oversight function trekking or going without vehicles?
The vehicles remain the property of the National Assembly within the 4-year tenure of members of the House. The vehicles to be allocated to the offices of the honorable members are utility operational vehicles tied to their oversight functions in the discharge of their duties in the standing committees for the duration of 2023 to 2027. The vehicles shall remain the property of the National Assembly. Nigerians are contending with inflation and an increase in the price of petrol. The cost of living is rising. The standard of living of the common Nigerian has fallen. The vehicles are utility and operational vehicles. These vehicles are not supposed to be kept by the individuals, but what the lawmakers are getting is status vehicles which are used for utility purposes. Status vehicles are usually status befitting, hence the Prado and SUVs. How do you perceive the decision to purchase SUVs for lawmakers? Drop your thoughts, subscribe, and share. These vehicles are imported, thereby enriching the country from which they are imported from. We have local car manufacturers in Nigeria. These vehicles for the next 4 years belong to the National Assembly. After 4 years, the National Assembly will re-evaluate the vehicles and put a cost to it. The lawmakers have the option of the first refusal to buy.
Let me tell you, Sean. I don't want to go personal now. I don't want to go personal. That same vehicle that you're talking of, before coming to the National Assembly, I have a vehicle that I have bigger than that.
Looking at the present economic realities, according to the report, each of the SUVs is valued at 160 million naira, totaling 57.6 billion naira for the purchase of the vehicles. Our democracy is expensive. Nigerians are reacting to the procurement of sports utility vehicles, SUVs, for the 360 members of the lower chamber and the 109 senators. There is pressure and demand on these lawmakers to effectively represent their constituencies and carry out their legislative duties. If these vehicles are work tools, shouldn't the lawmakers be entitled to these vehicles? What do these vehicles do, and why are they considered essential? Do you see the value the lawmakers are adding, especially as it regards oversight functions?
Are we supposed to do our oversight function trekking or going without vehicles? If I travel to my constituency with a car now, by the time I go 3-4 times, you know Nigerian roads. And if you look at Nigerian roads all over the Federation, that we have a serious problem because nothing much has been done in the last few years. Most of our roads, they are terribly bad. In fact, the government cannot even have fund enough to work on those roads. We have to go back into a PPP, a private partnership arrangement where people can invest through those roads and get their money. In return, it is done outside. I'm not even, don't forget that I didn't tell you that I don't even know the figure as I'm talking to you, because it's not my responsibility. Sheon, is it only Nigerian senators and House of Rep members that are using?
What does it make it right?
You know, assembly, we talk of the same thing. Maybe as a local manufacturing plant develop, we may choose to patronize that in future and surely as Nigerian manufacturing sector develop.
Senator, you know, a lot of
you are seeing a lot of Nigerians. Nigerians are not seeing other people in executive.
Is that the reason? Is that an excuse enough?
Same vehicle?
Is that an excuse
enough? Why are you guys picking on Nigerian?
Because you are the representatives of the people.
Yeah. We're making a lot of sacrifice. You don't know.
Including buying luxury vehicles.
I wonder how much 160 million naira would bring change and impact to the lives of the constituents and constituencies these lawmakers represent amid the current hardship. How much or how little would such an amount address the suffering? Still on the cost of governance, one of the biggest conversations in Nigeria right now is paucity of funds and a need to cut spending. Femi Falana-San, a Nigerian lawyer and human rights activist, called on former governors to stop collecting pensions as ex-governors. The state houses of assembly in Kwara, Imo, and Zamfara states have already abolished governors' pension scheme following a 2019 court judgment declaring such payments illegal and unconstitutional. But how do you appeal to someone who is enjoying retirement benefits in terms of pension and at the same time earning salary for a new employment contract within the same establishment? The political journey for many starts from governor to ex-governor to senator to minister and still collecting pensions. It is still from the same federation accounts these allowances and allocations are being drawn from.
I think looking at the Honorable Minister's statement and looking at the budget, I think that our government does not love this country. They do not have the feeling to nurture our children in this country. Honorable Speaker, $6 billion in salaries alone, not in administrative cost. Honorable Speaker, and we say we are a poor country. Honorable Speaker, the median age in this country is 19 years old. We should consider the life and the livelihood of our children. We should be investing in education. We should be investing in health rather than paying ourselves, feeding ourselves out of the poor people of this country. I will start with this August Assembly, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, to see the salary of the Honorable Speaker increased from 658 million to 658,000 to 1,560,000, I feel ashamed to call myself an honorable member. Honorable Speaker, I gave myself for service. I did not give myself for the poor people to feed me and my family. Honorable Speaker, when I saw this, I felt embarrassed. I did not want to come to this budget session because I said to myself, there is no need, because we are just sharing the cake in our pockets, going home, feeding ourselves. Not only that, but to see the responsibility allowance, the residential allowance, the roving allowance, and all those for the representatives of the people. It is embarrassing for me to go back to my poor constituency and tell them that the meager resources of this country, I am paid that much at your expense. I took an oath, Honorable Speaker, to serve and to give back to my society, not to enrich myself. And even if I go to the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, it says that we shouldn't deliberately enrich ourselves. And increasing our salaries is deliberately enriching ourselves. And that is an embarrassment. I think as a National Assembly, we should not accept any salary increment. It was in this August Assembly that we sat and discussed the salaries of the ministers and denied them, even though they went behind our backs and increased it. That is their problem. We offered ourselves for service, Honorable Speaker. We were not appointed. We were elected and we offered ourselves, Honorable Speaker. And I think we should think of our people when we do the budget. I'm not allowing you to observe me. I don't have that time. When you are on your own feet, observe yourself, please.
Yeah, a lot of people think, and this is also was sort of an interesting thing when people would say that taxpayers are paying for that. And the truth is, yes, you don't pay rent and you don't pay for staff, but everything, every dish, they would count the number of peanuts that you'd eat and charge it back.
No.
So you'd get a bill at the end of it. It's not aw, we live in a White House, y'all. I mean, this is not a complaint. It's just something that people don't understand.
But you pay for your own Charmin. You pay for
your Charmin. You pay for all your guests, the food that they eat, so all y'all who came and visited. When you were thinking, I'm just going to take some, put it in the purse. I was like, we got the bill.
The conundrum is, aside those currently in power, we have those ex-public office holders still enjoying the largesse of the office they have left. How legal is this in terms of provisions by the Constitution for the benefits that's enjoyed by current and ex-public office holders? These laws were passed and put in place by state houses of assembly. Right now, we have about 20 former governors who are either senators or ministers in the current government. On a scale of morality, how many of these former governors or ex-public office holders are willing to sacrifice or give up this largesse? The states have legislatures, and one wonders how these laws were passed and continue to exist, where the legislators settled, because they are potential aspirants to the benefits. Are state houses of assembly independent? Do they look out for or consider the public?
So our teachers, our policemen, our people serving in the military space, people working in government offices, we have agreed that because of where we are today, your salaries will be adjusted by between 7 and 10% from tomorrow. But for the other people, the state officers, myself, my deputy, ministers, PSS, until I have instructed the SRC to give us international best practice, because we need to reduce the gap between all of us who work for the people of Kenya. We need to make sure that the gap between the person paid the least and the person paid the most is not too big, because we are all workers. It is not possible that the people at the top earn 100 times more than the people at the bottom. It's not right. Because we live in the same country, we buy the same food, we go to the same shop, we go to, I have told SRC there is an internationally accepted, it's called compression formula Until they come back to me to tell me we meet that threshold, hii salaries yetu itangojea. Until we are all living the same.
Because the poor is getting poorer, multidimensionally so, citizens are expected and required to tighten their seatbelts and sacrifice for the state. Presidential yacht, vehicle for the First Lady, vehicles for lawmakers, necessary or unnecessary expenditure at this hard-pressed time. Is it about service, sacrifice, or survival for the lawmakers? I appeal to the conscience of the three tiers of government. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and thank you for listening.